Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, you just can't fit in socially? As if your conversations don't flow naturally, or the topics you're interested in seem unappealing to others? If so, know that you're not alone. There's an intriguing paradox. The smarter a person is, the more likely they are to feel isolated. This happens because the way highly analytical people view the world is fundamentally different. While many seek constant social interactions to feel complete, those with above-average intelligence often prefer solitude. But why is that? Could this be a sign of intellectual superiority, or is it a problem to be solved? Throughout this video, we will explore the scientific, philosophical, and psychological reasons behind this phenomenon. We will understand why brilliant minds tend to avoid social life, how this solitude can be both a blessing and a challenge, and how it's possible to balance the need for introspection with a healthy social life. If you've ever felt out of place in the world, it may not be because something is wrong with you, but because your thinking is too deep to fit into the superficiality of common interactions. If loneliness among intelligent people is such a common phenomenon, science surely has something to say about it. And indeed, research shows that individuals with high IQs have a different relationship with socialization. A study conducted by evolutionary psychologists suggests that unlike most people, more intelligent individuals feel less need for frequent interactions to feel satisfied. The explanation for this may lie in evolution. Our ancestors depended on the group for survival, and socialization was a matter of life or death. But as intelligence evolved, some individuals began to rely less on the group and more on their own problem-solving abilities and future planning. This intellectual independence may have translated into a reduced need for constant socialization. Moreover, neuroscience suggests that highly intelligent brains process information differently. People with higher cognitive abilities tend to have a higher threshold for stimulation, meaning that trivial conversations or superficial social environments can be perceived as monotonous or tiring. For them, pleasure lies in the exploration of knowledge, creativity, and introspection. This explains why many prefer to spend time alone studying, creating, or reflecting, rather than seeking social interactions just out of habit. But this difference in how they experience the world can lead to challenges. If highly intelligent people have a different threshold for stimulation, it means their relationship with the social world will inevitably be more complex. While most everyday interactions revolve around superficial topics, gossip, fleeting trends, light entertainment, analytical minds long for deeper, intellectually stimulating conversations. And that's exactly where the clash happens. What for many is a pleasant chat, for the more intelligent can seem like an empty exchange without real purpose. This doesn't mean that these people look down on others, but rather that their expectations regarding dialogue are different. They seek to understand complex ideas, discuss existential questions, and explore perspectives that challenge their intellect. Unfortunately, these needs don't always find resonance in most social groups. Furthermore, the way a highly intelligent person thinks can be perceived as intimidating. When someone questions popular beliefs or argues logically and in depth, they can end up being seen as arrogant or snobbish. This leads to a feeling of exclusion, causing many to opt for isolation rather than trying to fit into conversations that don't interest them. This social disconnection can lead to frustration and even a sense of discouragement. However, loneliness doesn't have to be viewed as a problem. Society often portrays loneliness as a problem, something to be avoided at all costs. But what if, in reality, it were a powerful tool for creativity and success? For many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, and inventors, solitude was an essential ingredient for their achievements. Great names like Nikola Tesla, Isaac Newton, and Franz Kafka found in solitude a refuge to develop their ideas without distractions. When a brilliant mind is alone, it has the freedom to explore its deepest thoughts, connect seemingly unrelated concepts, and create something truly original. Science also confirms this. Studies on creativity show that moments of isolation stimulate what's called idea incubation, a process in which the brain subconsciously works on innovative solutions. Without the distractions of excessive socialization, creative thinking flows more intensely and structured. Therefore, instead of viewing loneliness as a sign of inadequacy, it can be seen as an ally. Knowing how to use it to your advantage may be the key to achieving extraordinary feats. While loneliness can be a powerful tool for creativity and self-awareness, there is a fine line between productive isolation and harmful reclusiveness. The problem arises when solitude ceases to be a conscious choice and becomes an involuntary cycle, marked by feelings of disconnection and emptiness. Studies show that prolonged isolation can negatively impact mental health, increasing the risk of depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline. Humans, even those who value introspection, still need some level of social interaction to maintain emotional balance. The total absence of this contact can lead to a state of alienation, where the person loses the ability to relate, becoming increasingly distant from the outside world. Moreover, excessive isolation can feed destructive thought patterns. Without the contrast of human interactions, the mind tends to create subjective realities, reinforcing insecurities and distorting perceptions of oneself and others. The social world can be frustrating for brilliant minds, but the total lack of it can be even more dangerous. Still, avoiding this dark side doesn't mean giving up individuality. There is a way to reconcile the need for solitude with meaningful social interactions, ensuring a healthy balance between introspection and human connection. Overcoming the challenges of loneliness doesn't necessarily mean abandoning the desire for introspection or creating a superficial social life. The key is to find a balance that allows you to explore your own mind without giving up the basic human need for genuine connection. To do this, it's essential to begin with a change in perspective. Loneliness is not synonymous with social failure, but a conscious choice to dedicate time to oneself for inner growth. An effective way to deal with loneliness is to cultivate authentic relationships, those that are based on shared interests and values, rather than empty or forced interactions. Connecting with people who understand the depth of your ideas and feelings can transform the experience of loneliness into an opportunity to deepen connections. It is also essential to practice vulnerability. Often, brilliant minds isolate themselves out of fear of not being understood, or because they fear being seen as different. However, by allowing yourself to be vulnerable and creating safe spaces for deeper conversations, it is possible to form friendships that not only nourish the intellect, but also the heart. Furthermore, seeking out groups and communities that share similar interests can be a way to integrate the need for solitude with the need for belonging. Participating in debates, discussions, or creative projects can provide a valuable support network without sacrificing individuality. Loneliness is not an enemy to be feared, but an opportunity to be seized. Throughout this video, we explored how brilliant minds, often misunderstood for their tendency toward isolation, can transform this silent space into fertile ground for creativity, self-discovery, and personal growth. While the social world may seem challenging for those with an analytical and deep mind, solitude, when well managed, can be the key to great accomplishments. The transformation begins with the realization that loneliness is not a sign of weakness, but a reflection of the need to reconnect with oneself in an increasingly superficial world. For the brightest minds, isolation offers the chance to process ideas, refine thoughts, and achieve a level of clarity that common social interactions rarely provide. But, as discussed, this solitude needs to be balanced with the pursuit of authentic relationships, which provide the necessary support for emotional and intellectual well-being. The true power of solitude lies in its ability to cultivate emotional and intellectual independence, allowing the individual to grow without external pressures. However, it is important to remember that true strength does not come from absolute isolation, but from the ability to use solitude as a catalyst to become more authentic, creative, and connected with others. When understood and valued, solitude can be what empowers us to achieve our greatest goals, explore our own limits, and ultimately reach a more meaningful and genuine success. By making it an ally, not an enemy, we can shape a more rewarding future, both personally and socially.